It's late, but I'm stuck at the studio, so I thought I'd do this setup just because I keep coming back to this idea that maybe the FS7 isn't isn't good enough still or anymore. And one of the things that's triggered that is this new Blackmagic camera that's come out, the Pixis. It seems like such a good deal, like the amount of money it is for the some of the image quality improvements over this. But then also, I mean, kind of in the Sony ecosystem, is the FX6 the next logical step? That's getting pretty old now, so it's wild that that's not come down in price more. Or do I just stick with this? Because for the most part, it's absolutely fine. Don't really, I mean, this is the only time I've ever used the autofocus. I don't tend to use an autofocus lens on it. I use the Fuji MK 18 to 50, 18 to 55. I use that more than I use anything else, and that's a fully manual lens. So do I need that? And then I compare this to the a7S3, and that's good, but it doesn't blow me away. So would the FX6 even be that much better? There are some quality of life improvements, but there's also quality of life improvements if you looked at like the A6700, which is an entry-level APS-C camera. That seems like it could replace this pretty easily in a lot of ways. So I thought I'd sit here, I'd light myself, overly lit. Don't usually carry 3 lights like this with me, but I don't know. I just thought I'd put some light on myself and see where we ended up. Because like, I'm gonna put the a7S3 next to this now, see where that gets us. How's that looking? This is incredibly unfair at the moment because this has got quite a nice, albeit entry-level-ish Sony 35mm 1.8 on it, and this has got the kit lens that I talked about yesterday, and it's kind of trash. It's really good to just have on it and make these videos, but like, I'm ghetto like this. I would cut it in with work stuff if I needed to, but yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, let's change it out. Okay, it might still be unfair. I don't know. This is not me being like, this is not me being methodical and in depth on this. This is literally just me going, how does he look? Does he look like an idiot? Does he look shit? How does he look? Does he look like he was filmed on a camera from 10 years ago? But then saying that, this guy is from 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, let's be fair. This guy's only a little bit older. I don't know. Now, the fairness is still somewhat with the FS7 because the Sony is on the 24 to 105 at a similar, trying to get myself a similar field of view, but this is at 50, but at f4, whereas this is at f1.8, which I should stop this one down. Okay, we've sort of evened them out a little bit now. I don't know why I'm looking as if I can tell which one's better, because I've got the FS, I've got one on a big screen and the other's on a tiny screen, so it's very hard to say. Pretty sure that autofocus is going to be better on the mirrorless, but the FS7 kind of keeps up sometimes. Yeah, it probably like a little bit, loses me sometimes. I don't know. Like, just use some B-roll, cover that up. Like I say, I don't really use the autofocus on this. This is a rambling video just to give me enough footage to compare the two. But then, I don't know. Does it matter? Like, this is good enough. Keep it. Stop worrying about the newest thing. That's turned off because it's overheated. If it wasn't for the house hunt at the moment, if it wasn't for ploughing every last penny into saving for a deposit, I would be looking at spending some money. And I probably will be looking at spending some money again in the not too distant future. But I still think, and this is that gear matters versus gear doesn't matter thing, all things being equal, the gear does matter. But 3,000, 4,000, maybe £5,000 once you've kitted it out for that new Blackmagic camera, all well and good. But because I already own some pretty decent cameras, would I be better going and spending £5,000 putting together some amazing test shoots? I've got some test shoots planned. None of them are costing £5,000, but I could do £5,000, five £1,000 test shoots, and almost guaranteed that would be better in every single way for my career, for my personal development, for everything, than buying that one new camera. Now, if I had no cameras at all and I still had £5,000 to spend, I think the only way I could, oh, for fuck's sake, right, we're switching these. Right, we fixed it. I think we fixed it. Where was I? If I'd had nothing, no gear at all, but I still had that £5,000, I think the really sensible option would still be to do the test shoots and rent equipment. Because like I think sometimes you think about renting equipment, you think like, oh yeah, it'd be amazing to rent some like Arri Alexa, you know, something that costs like £300 to £600 a day. But actually you could rent a couple of a7S3s or the like what's the Panasonic, those guys, the full frame ones they do with a couple of lenses. You could rent, I think one of these lights is like the Aperture 600D is like, I don't know, £100 for the day. You could put together a really good test shoot, spend £200 on, I really need to actually do this. I have got some in the pipeline. They're not multi-thousand-pound ones, but hopefully they'll be interesting. The thing I'm going to leave this on, and then leading into, I think I'll probably think about this more tomorrow. The thing about what I've been doing the last 20 odd days, making these videos, is one, I picked a terrible time to do this because I've had very few like jobs that I can bring you along on. So it's actually been quite boring. And also it's really, really tough to make a video every day that's interesting. And I've been failing, and that has been shown to me in the numbers. There's a couple of videos that popped off because they obviously hit like some nerve, some zeitgeist. They're mostly, though, they are not. And that is unfortunate, because as much as I don't want to make these for an audience, I'm making these for myself. It would be nice if they connected with an audience, and I think I've just been doing a bad job at this. That's the takeaway so far. How do I improve this? How do I make creating fun for me but also interesting to watch? I don't know, without resorting to like, oh, buy this new camera thing. Like these mics, I'm going off on tangent here, but these mics, Hollyland, bought two sets of them for a shoot that I did, event shoot. They're great. They're really, really good. For the price, what they deliver is incredible. The ease of use of it just being able to magnet it onto you, so good. I don't want to make reviews about them though, even though those reviews are helpful to me when I see other people's reviews. And if I probably watched a couple before I picked this up, or picked the couple of sets of these up. Even though those reviews are useful to me, I still hate the idea of doing them because it feels like trash TV. It just feels like absolute brain rot if I do it. Other people do a much better job of it, I think, probably is the reason. You know, you look at someone like Gerald Undone, who makes these videos where he really goes in depth. He he gets out these charts that most people don't have, and he does an honest to God review that tells you a load of technical stuff that isn't just reading off a spec sheet. And then there's other people, I'm really struggling to think of someone now, but people who do the real world testing. You've got people like Brady Bassett doing like real world, out in the field, Lewis Potts, lighting and that kind of stuff. And what's that other guy? I can't remember his name. But there's quite a few people who do like out in the world testing, and they do big, interesting jobs. Maybe selling myself short, but I do a lot of boring stuff. Maybe I just find it boring. Maybe if I share it, you wouldn't find it boring. Maybe it's interesting to see like how I get by using kind of old shitty camera gear. This is just like a trauma dump, and I am sorry, and if you've got to this point, you are a fucking saint, so thank you, and I'm gonna leave it there. I'll see you in the next one. Half an hour of chatting shit. Right, let's pack it up. Need to get a thumbnail. I think this is probably a good thumbnail, but this camera never has an SD card in it. Yeah, in fact, I probably watched a couple before I picked this up, or picked the couple of